As shift occurs, the instant awareness stops drifting and begins to look, truly look. The surface of things trembles, as if reality itself feels the weight of being seen. What once appeared solid turns responsive, intimate, alive. The world doesn't sit waiting to be noticed. It awakens through the act of observation. Every conscious glance carries the power to reorganize matter into meaning. The movement of attention is creative, not passive. It pulls hidden patterns into form, as though existence were a mirror searching for a mind to complete its reflection. Seeing consciously is the quiet revolution where perception and creation merge. It's not that we stand inside a pre-made universe, but that the universe takes shape in the exact moment we meet it with awareness. In the field between observer and observed, reality learns what it is. Reality is not a fixed landscape stretching before the eyes. It is a living field that responds to the quality of our presence. Every act of observation is a quiet exchange, a pulse between consciousness and the world. When we look without awareness, the world reflects only noise. But when we look with presence, steady, unfiltered, receptive, the same world rearranges itself into coherence. To observe is to participate in the unfolding of existence. To witness is to give structure to what would otherwise remain undefined. The mind often believes that observation is neutral, that we can stand outside life and assess it without consequence. Yet consciousness does not permit distance. The very act of looking alters the equation of what is seen. In quantum experiments, particles behave differently under observation. They do not settle into form until attention meets them. This is not metaphor. It is the physics of awareness, a glimpse into how profoundly the observer matters. But beyond laboratories and wave functions, this truth extends into the inner field of human experience. Thought, emotion, and perception form a similar quantum domain. They collapse into meaning only when the mind attends to them consciously. Presence is not just physical attention. It is a state of resonance between inner and outer worlds. When you observe a tree, a conversation, or a feeling with complete awareness, something subtle occurs. Separation dissolves. You are no longer a spectator cataloging what happens. You are the event itself, aware of its own unfolding. The boundaries between observer and observed soften until only the act of awareness remains. In that state, perception becomes participation. To observe consciously is to slow the mind's restless labeling. It is to see without rushing toward definition. The tree is not beautiful or ordinary. It simply is, and in that being it speaks to the part of you that also simply is. This kind of seeing invites the world to reveal its inner architecture, the invisible lattice connecting form, meaning, and presence. You begin to sense that the physical is not separate from the mental, that your awareness threads through reality like current through a circuit. Most people live as if their attention were a weak light bulb, flickering, diffused, distracted. But consciousness, when focused, is more like a laser, coherent, transformative, precise. The moment you hold awareness without judgment, your surroundings subtly change. Conversations deepen, time slows. Randomness organizes into rhythm. What you once called coincidence begins to resemble dialogue. The universe, it seems, listens back. To participate through observation does not mean controlling what unfolds. Control implies distance and fear. Participation implies trust. Conscious observation opens a channel through which life communicates. You begin to notice that even discomfort and uncertainty carry messages, guiding perception toward greater integration. The observer's presence translates chaos into pattern, not by imposing order, but by recognizing it. This is why conscious presence holds power. The mind that sees without awareness reacts. The mind that sees with awareness creates. Every emotion observed without resistance transforms its texture. Every situation viewed through clarity reveals an unseen symmetry. Even in silence, the act of pure observation sculpts the moment. The more present you are, the more reality reveals its structure as a mirror of that presence. Science calls it measurement. Spirituality calls it awakening. Both point to the same phenomenon. Attention gives birth to form. Without the observer, the universe remains an undifferentiated field of potential. Observation crystallizes it into experience. The world you inhabit is not built solely from atoms and forces. It is built from the dance between awareness and what it beholds. Presence, however, demands honesty. It asks that you notice not only the outer world, but also the subtle movements within. The quick judgment, the mental escape, the tightening in the body. These are small disturbances in the field of observation. When you see them clearly, they lose their power to distort perception. Awareness, like light, cleanses what it touches. It doesn't fight illusions, it reveals them. To observe consciously is therefore an act of responsibility. Every glance shapes the collective field of reality. The quality of your attention ripples outward, influencing the tone of spaces, the texture of relationships, the possibilities that emerge. You become a co-architect of reality through the precision of your seeing. Imagine millions of eyes looking not to dominate or to consume, but to understand, to participate with reverence. The structure of the world would change, not by force, but by coherence. Stillness is the foundation of this power. Not the stillness of inactivity, but the stillness of deep engagement. In that silence, perception grows roots. You begin to sense patterns beneath appearances, the underlying symmetry that connects motion and thought, sound and silence, self and world. Observation is not passive contemplation. It is creative contact with the living matrix of existence. Every great discovery, whether scientific or spiritual, begins with someone who truly looked. Einstein staring at the sunbeam in his room, Buddha beneath the Bodhi tree, an artist before an empty canvas. Each participated in creation through the intensity of their observation. The external event was merely the echo of an internal gaze held steady enough to reveal the hidden order of things. To observe is to let life know you are here, awake, listening. The universe, sensing that awareness, reshapes itself to meet you. The more deeply you observe, the more you realize there is no line separating observer from observed, only a continuous field of consciousness exploring itself through form. Participation is not optional. It is the essence of being. In the quiet act of seeing with awareness, the veil of neutrality dissolves. The world no longer happens to you, it happens through you. Conscious observation does not just witness reality, it gives it coherence, rhythm, and meaning. To observe is to say to existence, I am present. And existence, hearing that, replies by revealing what it truly is. Every era of thought eventually encounters the same paradox. If reality exists independently of us, why does it shift the moment we become aware of it? The question seems simple, but touches the very edge of human understanding. Observation is not just a sensory event, it is the interface where consciousness and matter negotiate existence. The deeper we examine this connection, the clearer it becomes that what we call the real is not something out there. It is the dynamic relationship between perception and the perceived. The structure of reality is not a static grid. It behaves more like a field of probabilities awaiting coherence. Physics brushes against this mystery through the observer effect, where particles collapse into measurable states only when observed. But this isn't just quantum mechanics whispering from a lab. It is a reflection of a universal principle. Consciousness organizes potential into pattern. Observation is the lens through which possibility becomes form. It's not a metaphorical magic trick. It's the architecture of experience itself. Human consciousness, unlike mere awareness, carries intent and interpretation. It doesn't just register the world, it translates it into meaning. Every perception passes through the prism of the observer's beliefs, emotions, and memories. When you look at the world, you don't see it as it is, you see it as you are. The structure of reality, therefore, is constantly informed by the structure of consciousness perceiving it. This is not to say that matter depends on thought to exist, but that its experience depends on how consciousness relates to it. The bridge between the two is observation. Imagine consciousness as a vast ocean, and observation as a wave rising from its surface. The wave does not exist apart from the ocean, yet it has a distinct shape and movement. The world of phenomena, the things we touch, name, and measure, are those waves, momentary expressions of an underlying field of awareness. Each observation carves a temporary form into that field. When you stop observing, the wave subsides, returning to the infinite potential of the ocean itself. This rhythm of emergence and dissolution is the pulse of creation. In daily life, this principle reveals itself quietly. Consider how attention changes the tone of a conversation. The moment you listen deeply, without interruption or internal noise, the person speaking to you begins to express themselves differently. Something in them recognizes being seen. Their reality, their inner structure of thought and emotion, shifts in response to the quality of your observation. This is not persuasion, it is coherence. Conscious attention aligns energies that were once fragmented. The same law applies inwardly. Thoughts behave like subatomic particles. Left unobserved, they swarm in uncertainty, influencing emotion and action from the shadows. The instant you observe them clearly, they take form, become knowable, and lose their unconscious control. Awareness collapses mental chaos into clarity. This is how consciousness builds structure from within, the same way observation organizes the physical world without. To understand this connection, we must move beyond the notion of a detached observer. Observation is not the eye behind a window. It is participation within the very fabric it observes. Consciousness does not merely look at reality, it inhabits it. Every perception arises from the same field that gives rise to stars, atoms, and human thought. When you observe, you are not peering at something separate. You are the universe observing itself from a specific point of view. The observer and the observed are two faces of the same act of awareness. This realization transforms the meaning of existence. It suggests that consciousness is not a late product of evolution, but the organizing principle that allows evolution to happen at all. Observation does not just record the universe's unfolding, it guides it. Wherever awareness flows, order begins to crystallize. Every creative act, every moment of insight, every pattern of civilization begins with this subtle union of seeing and being seen. To connect consciousness with the structure of reality is to recognize that meaning is not imposed upon the world, it is drawn out of it. The physicist's data, the artist's vision, the mystic's revelation all stem from the same movement. Focused attention, meeting the unknown. The unknown then answers by becoming known. This exchange defines what it means to exist as a conscious being. Observation is the dialogue through which reality speaks itself into form. Yet this connection also reveals a responsibility. If observation shapes reality, then the quality of our attention determines the quality of the world we inhabit. Distracted, fragmented observation breeds incoherence, both inwardly and collectively. The crises of our time, social, ecological, psychological, mirror the state of our collective awareness, scattered, unanchored, reactive. To restore balance, we must relearn how to see. Conscious observation is not passive mindfulness, it is an act of creation that carries weight. To look clearly is to heal the fracture between mind and world. There is an experiment available to everyone. Sit before a simple object, a glass of water, a leaf, a candle flame. Let your gaze rest without judgment or analysis. At first, nothing seems to happen. Then, gradually, the object begins to reveal its subtle depth. It stops being a thing and becomes an event, a living process of light, texture, and motion. You sense the relationship between your awareness and what you see tightening into resonance. The border between subject and object blurs. This is the hinge between consciousness and structure. The moment observation becomes communion. Philosophers have sought this unity for centuries. Scientists have measured its echoes, and mystics have lived it as experience. Across all disciplines, the conclusion converges. Reality is participatory. It does not unfold in front of us, but through us. Every observation we make contributes to the continuous construction of the universe's architecture. Each choice of attention shapes the pattern of what can exist next. To ask how observation connects consciousness to the structure of reality is to touch the central mystery of existence itself. The answer is not hidden in equations or doctrines, but in the immediacy of awareness. Every moment you truly see, without projection, without distraction, you align your consciousness with the blueprint of creation. The universe is not waiting to be explained. It is waiting to be experienced through awakened eyes. Observation is that bridge, invisible yet absolute, linking the infinite potential of being with the tangible order of the world. In the end, the connection is not mechanical, but relational. Consciousness and reality are partners in a timeless conversation. Each time you observe, you speak a silent word into existence, and existence answers in form. Between those two gestures, the seeing and the seen, lies the pulse of everything that is. Meaning is the invisible architecture of reality. Everything we experience, every event, every object, every encounter, exists in raw form until consciousness threads it with interpretation. It is through this weaving that the world becomes personal, colored by values, desires, fears, and insight. The external world may present its neutral canvas, but it is the human mind that paints it with significance. Without meaning, even beauty is mute, and time itself dissolves into abstraction. Meaning is not decoration. It is the very fabric that binds perception to existence. Each moment, consciousness acts as a loom. Sensations, memories, and emotions pass through it like strands of fiber, and observation is the motion of the hands that weave them into coherence. The mind is not a passive receiver of stimuli. It is a sculptor, molding raw experience into narrative. This is why two people can live the same event and emerge with entirely different realities. What separates their worlds is not circumstance, but the quality of meaning they project onto what they see. The structure of reality bends to the geometry of interpretation. Meaning does not arise from logic alone. It is born at the intersection of awareness and feeling. Consciousness infuses form with significance because it cannot help but seek relationship. It longs to understand what it encounters. The moment you look at something and sense its relevance, even without words, you are reconfiguring reality's pattern around it. Every thought you believe, every emotion you reinforce, becomes a thread of the real. You may think you live in the world, but in truth you live through the meanings you give to it. The weaver works constantly, even when you are unaware. Thoughts about success, failure, time, and love form the hidden tapestry of your life. If those thoughts are mechanical, the fabric becomes tangled and dull. But when observation is conscious, when awareness attends to what it is creating, the texture changes. Life acquires depth, nuance, and quiet precision. You begin to sense that what you called reality is not fixed, but responsive to the stories you tell yourself. To live without awareness is to weave blindfolded, repeating inherited patterns. To live consciously is to become an artist of perception, deliberately shaping how existence unfolds through you. Every symbol in your environment, your home, your relationships, even the rhythm of your breath, echoes the state of your inner meaning-making. You think the world influences you, but you also continuously encode it with interpretation. The room feels heavy, not because of its walls, but because your mind fills it with unresolved emotion. A conversation feels light because your awareness interprets it as connection, not conflict. Meaning is the code that transforms neutral events into destiny. This weaving power of consciousness explains why transformation begins in perception, not in circumstance. When you change the way you see, the world reorganizes itself around that vision. The same event that once appeared as loss becomes initiation. What felt random reveals purpose. Reality is not cruel or kind. It mirrors the frequency of meaning you project onto it. Consciousness does not dictate what happens, but it determines how what happens integrates into the living fabric of your being. This does not mean that life is an illusion, or that pain can be erased by thought. It means that even pain can be woven into coherence when observed without resistance. Consciousness does not deny suffering. It reorganizes it. Meaning transforms wounds into wisdom, failure into clarity, chaos into evolution. Through that process, the weaver refines itself, learning that creation is not about control, but participation. You might imagine consciousness as a vast workshop where each observation becomes a tool shaping the texture of reality. The hammer is attention, the chisel is interpretation, the fire is emotion. Every tool, used unconsciously, distorts the work. But in the hands of awareness, they produce symmetry. This is how the invisible becomes tangible. through the deliberate crafting of meaning. To weave consciously requires stillness. It asks you to pause before naming, to observe before concluding, to feel before labeling. In that pause, perception becomes fluid enough to reorganize itself. The moment you hold awareness in neutrality, meaning begins to reveal itself organically. You no longer need to invent significance. You perceive the one that was always there. Consciousness aligns with the inherent intelligence of reality, and a deeper order emerges, one that feels less like creation and more like revelation. Throughout history, sages, artists, and scientists have touched this secret in different languages. The physicist calls it coherence, the mystic calls it unity, the poet calls it presence. All describe the same phenomenon. When consciousness observes without distortion, the world reorganizes into meaning. The observer and the observed enter resonance, and from that resonance form acquires purpose. But in the modern world, meaning often fractures under speed and distraction. We chase explanations without allowing significance to mature through silence. We fill every gap with noise, forgetting that the weaver needs space to work. To restore coherence, we must reclaim the art of conscious observation, not as analysis, but as devotion. To look at life with reverence is to remind reality of its own intelligence. Every glance infused with awareness repairs the web of the world. This understanding reshapes responsibility. If reality organizes itself according to the meanings we give, then every act of perception contributes to the collective pattern. Each thought of fear or gratitude, each judgment or compassion, is a thread woven into humanity's shared fabric. The world we see together is the sum of our meanings combined. Consciousness in its individual form is the weaver. In its collective form, it becomes the tapestry itself. You participate in that weaving every moment through what you choose to notice, how you interpret, what you affirm as real. The question is not whether you are shaping reality, but whether you are doing it consciously. Each time you observe with clarity and intention, you realign the world toward coherence. Each time you look unconsciously, you add distortion to the design. Meaning is both privilege and responsibility, and the loom never rests. So as this reflection settles, take a moment to test this truth directly. Choose something ordinary around you, a sound, a movement, a fragment of light, and observe it with full presence. Let go of your idea about it. Notice how your awareness, just by resting on it, alters your perception of it. Feel the subtle recognition between observer and observed. That shift is the beginning of creation. If this insight resonates with you, give presence to it beyond this moment. Like this video as an act of acknowledgement, a gesture of conscious participation, and write in the comments what new meaning reality revealed to you today. Your words will not only echo this understanding, but will weave another thread into the shared tapestry of awareness that we are building together. There comes a moment in the evolution of awareness when observation ceases to be an act of the mind and becomes an act of being. At that depth, seeing is no longer a function of the eyes or intellect. It is the essence of consciousness recognizing itself through the forms it perceives. Observation and consciousness meet, not as two entities, but as one movement unfolding within reality. It is here in this intimate convergence that existence reveals its true texture. Not an external world viewed by an internal witness, but a seamless continuum of awareness in dialogue with itself. Every human experience, no matter how ordinary, is a version of this encounter. When you observe a sound, a face, or even a thought with complete attention, the boundary between subject and object begins to dissolve. What remains is pure presence, a clarity beyond description. In that instant, the world stops being an arrangement of things and becomes a living process of consciousness in motion. You are not watching life. You are its witnessing center, the very space through which it expresses itself. This meeting between observation and consciousness is both subtle and transformative. It reveals that perception is not a passive act of reception, but an active revelation of being. The eye does not merely collect data, it calls the world into coherence. The moment of seeing is the moment of creation, and what is created is not an external object, but a shared reality arising from the field of awareness itself. To observe deeply is to participate in the universe's ongoing act of self-recognition. In this state, everything observed becomes transparent. The veil of separation thins until even the smallest moment, a hand moving, a shadow shifting, radiates significance. You begin to sense that what you perceive is not apart from you, but made of the same essence that looks through your eyes. Observation turns inward and outward simultaneously, erasing the distinction between internal and external worlds. The world is no longer a stage upon which consciousness watches events unfold. It is the body of consciousness itself. To reach this level of perception, the mind must quiet its need to define. Definition freezes movement, and being is movement. The act of naming divides, the act of observing unites. True observation asks for stillness, not analysis. It requires a surrender of control, an openness to let reality disclose itself without the interference of expectation. In that openness, something remarkable happens. The observer disappears. There is only awareness aware of itself, and that recognition carries a peace that no external achievement can match. Philosophers have called this the meeting of the knower and the known. Mystics describe it as awakening. Scientists sense its outline in the mysterious interdependence between measurement and outcome. Regardless of language, all point to the same encounter, the realization that consciousness and reality are not two halves meeting, but one continuum glimpsing its own nature. Observation is the threshold where this recognition becomes visible. To live from this space is to live with presence so complete that every moment feels alive with intelligence. The world no longer appears as a collection of objects, but as a living field of relationships, each shimmering with awareness. You begin to sense that every sound, every person, every silence is a mirror reflecting consciousness back to itself. The more you observe, the more you discover that the same awareness observing the tree is the awareness within the tree. The same consciousness sensing the ocean is the consciousness that moves within its waves. This realization does not inflate the self. It dissolves it. Yet the encounter between observation and consciousness is not reserved for moments of meditation or solitude. It unfolds in the most human experiences, in love, in loss, in the small decisions of daily life. Every emotion is an invitation to observe, every thought a window into the fabric of being. When you look at anger, sadness, or joy without judgment, the feeling transforms into clarity. Consciousness, through observation, extracts wisdom from emotion the way light emerges from flame. The observer becomes the alchemist of experience, transmuting raw energy into awareness. This encounter is also an act of intimacy with existence. To observe something fully is to love it. Love, in its purest sense, is attention without agenda. It is the willingness to let something be what it is while seeing it completely. That kind of seeing carries no demand, no control, only recognition. Observation, when guided by consciousness, becomes an act of reverence. The flower blooms not just in sunlight, but in the gaze that truly sees it. The universe unfolds because it is witnessed with awareness. Through this lens, even suffering takes on a new significance. Pain becomes the call of reality, seeking to be observed more deeply. Avoidance prolongs it. Attention transforms it. The meeting of observation and consciousness allows you to hold what hurts without turning away, to discover the intelligence hidden inside the fracture. This is how being heals itself, not by fleeing experience, but by entering it with open awareness. The observer's gaze reorders chaos into meaning, not through effort, but through presence. At its core, this encounter reveals that being itself is not static, it is relational. Existence knows itself only through interaction, through the dance between perceiver and perceived. The universe becomes aware of its own existence through the countless eyes that look upon it. Every conscious being, every act of observation, is a node in this vast network of self-awareness. Through you, reality learns more about itself. Through your seeing, it evolves. There is a profound humility in realizing that your attention is not a private act, but part of a cosmic process. Each moment of true observation contributes to the expansion of consciousness itself. Whether you look at the stars, your own thoughts, or the face of another, you are engaging in the most sacred dialogue, being recognizing being. Observation is not something you do. It is what you are when the illusion of separation fades. The encounter between observation and consciousness is not the end of inquiry, but the beginning of understanding. It shows that truth is not hidden in distant realms. It is alive in the act of seeing. Every moment you meet the world with awareness, you return to the source of existence itself. The mystery is not out there. It breathes through the simple miracle of perception. So let this awareness settle. Every time you observe with presence, you are not merely looking, you are being revealed. You are the meeting point where the universe experiences itself, the living proof that consciousness and reality are woven from the same infinite thread. In that recognition, all searching ends, for the seeker and the seen are one and the same. Observation is the silent bridge between mind and matter. In the moment you truly see, awareness and existence fuse. The observer and the observed become one movement of being. Reality doesn't stand apart, waiting to be defined. It breathes through your perception, shaping itself by the depth of your consciousness. To observe is not to watch, but to participate in creation itself. The world is not merely around you. It is within you, reflecting the quality of your gaze. Each moment you see with presence, the universe recognizes itself through you. If you've reached this point, write, "I see through awareness" in the comments, so I know you were here until the end. And if this reflection spoke to something in you, subscribe for more journeys like this. Each one a new lens through which consciousness meets reality.